First up, and honestly, this might be the most important thing to remember, every single great cloud architecture starts with the business, not the tech, the business goals.
Okay, so here's our first scenario. And trust me, this is a classic. It comes up all the time. The business needs to lock down its web apps and control who gets in. We're talking security, compliance, protecting that sensitive data.
Right, so the key thing to get here is that security isn't about finding one magic tool. It's about layers. You've got to build a defense-in-depth strategy. Identity-aware proxy, or IAP. That's your gatekeeper. It checks who is knocking at the door. Then you have Cloud Armor, which is like your bodyguard, protecting you from what kind of attacks are coming in. And finally, Secret Manager keeps your credentials tucked away safely inside.
And this is a perfect real-world example of how it all clicks together. The firm uses IAP so its employees can access internal tools without a clunky old VPN. Meanwhile, Cloud Armor is right there at the edge, acting like a bouncer, stopping nasty SQL injection attacks and bots before they even get close.
Okay, let's switch gears to another huge business concern: money. How do you handle traffic that goes up and down like a yo-yo without completely blowing your budget? This is a question you'll get from every stakeholder, and you can bet the exam is going to hit on it.
So there are really two big moves you can make here. First, you've got to embrace serverless with something like Cloud Run. The magic is that it can scale all the way down to 0. Think about that. If no one's using your service, you pay absolutely nothing for compute. It's a game changer. And second, always set up billing alerts. They're your financial guardrails, your safety net. They stop costs from spiraling out of control.
At the end of the day, being an architect is all about making smart trade-offs. There's almost never a single perfect right answer. The exam is famous for giving you these tricky scenarios where you have to weigh your options. Do you want stronger consistency, or is eventual okay? Do you want the simplicity of a managed service or the total control of something you orchestrate yourself? Getting good at making these calls, that's what takes you from a good architect to a great one.
All right, so we've got the business side covered. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the technical requirements. How do we actually build a system that's resilient, that can scale, and that can recover when things inevitably go wrong?
Okay, next challenge for you. The business comes and says, we need 99.99% uptime. This system cannot go down. We're talking 4 nines of availability. This is a huge deal, a core concept in the well-architected framework, so you better have a solid plan.
And this slide lays out that trade-off perfectly. Look, for something that's not super critical, a zonal database instance, totally fine. It saves you some money. But for that 4 nines requirement we just talked about, no way. You absolutely need a regional instance. That gives you a hot standby in a different zone ready to take over automatically. It's your insurance policy.
And when we talk about disaster recovery, your new best friend is automation. Seriously, a process like this one, using Cloud Scheduler to kick off a Cloud Run job, means your backups just happen. So when a disaster does strike, you're not scrambling. You can meet your recovery objectives without some poor soul having to wake up at 3 a.m. to run a script.
Okay, let's get back to basics for a second and talk about the fundamental building blocks. I'm talking compute, storage, and networking. Choosing the right tool for the job here is so important. If you get this wrong at the beginning, it can cause headaches with cost, performance, you name it, for a long time to come.
So, the classic showdown, Cloud Run versus GKE. When do you pick which one? Well, it really boils down to 2 things. How complex is your application, and how much operational heavy lifting does your team want to do? If you're building something fairly simple and you want to move fast with minimal overhead, Cloud Run is your hero. But if you're dealing with a complex web of microservices and need that deep granular control, well, that's where the powerhouse that is GKE really shines.
Oh man, picking the right storage is one of those things that can make or break your application. The slide says it perfectly. You wouldn't use a wrench to hammer a nail, right? So why would you use an object store, like cloud storage, for a database that needs super fast transactions? You wouldn't. That's what Cloud SQL is for. Using the wrong tool here just leads to a world of pain with bad performance and weird consistency problems.
Okay, this is a networking pattern you really need to have in your back pocket. It's called direct VPC egress. In plain English, it lets your serverless stuff, like an app on Cloud Run, talk directly and securely to things inside your private network, like your database. The key is that the traffic never, ever goes out over the public internet. It's a massive win for security, and it can make things faster too.
A good architect builds for today.
A great architect builds for today and plans for tomorrow. That means thinking about how you're going to bring over those old legacy systems and how your shiny new architecture is going to evolve as the business grows.
So when you're looking at migrating something, you've got options. You can do a lift and shift, which is super fast but doesn't really take advantage of the cloud. You could replatform, making a few small tweaks, or you can go all in and refactor, a complete rewrite. It's the most work, but it also gives you the biggest payoff. The trick is being able to look at an app and decide which path makes the most sense.
So, how on earth do you design for a future you can't even predict? The secret is loose coupling. By using services like PubSub to act as a middleman, your different application components don't have to talk directly to each other. They just send messages. This means you can rip out one service and plug in a new one without having to rewrite the whole system. It's what makes your architecture flexible and ready for whatever comes next. So let's boil it all down. If you walk away with anything, it should be these 4 things. 1. Business first. Always. 2. Master the trade-offs. It's a constant balancing act. 3. Use the right tool for the job. And 4. Plan for tomorrow. Think about migration and evolution from day 1. If you can keep these 4 things in your head for every question, you're going to be in great shape.
And with all that in mind, I'll leave you with a final challenge. Go look up one of the official exam case studies. Symbol Retail is a great one. And try to apply this framework. Ask yourself, what are their real business needs? What are the big technical trade-offs I'd have to make? Putting it into practice is the best way to learn.
There you have it. You've officially made it through the Architect's Gauntlet for Section 1. You now have the mental framework to break down any design problem the exam throws at you. So keep practicing, keep working with those case studies, and good luck.